Kung Fu Masters offering state-of-the-art technique for dealing with MMA at just $3K an hour, $3,000 an hour. We got to talk about this. Obviously, it's going to amuse me. It's going to amuse hopefully most of you, if not amuse, at least educate. Now, the very first thing for me personally is when a martial arts instructor has a title like Grandmaster, I just roll my eyes. I honestly do. And when we stop and we think about some of the best instructors in the world in martial arts, we often have to go to Thailand when we're thinking about fight sports that are actually going to work. And those guys over there, what do we call them? We call them by their name. They don't have us going like, okay, we got to bow and say crew, and we don't have to call them Grandmaster. If somebody, is like, oh, they want to be sensei or something like that, I'm like, okay. And then they got the next stage and the next stage. I don't even care if my students call me sensei or Gabriel. So this guy, Grandmaster William Chung, has practiced Kung Fu, and he's launched what he calls a specialized MMA-focused training curriculum through his private lesson program. Offering includes both individual sessions and a comprehensive 6-month certification course designed to address modern combat sports challenges. My first question would be, why are you concerned about dealing with MMA? Because as far as I can tell, all the techniques which he's utilizing look like they're more made for street self-defense, and they're not going to work in the ring whatsoever. They have zero chance. So why are you facing somebody who has an MMA background? It's almost like he's designed it for people out there who want to compete, like Kung Fu fighters who want to compete in MMA, how to counter the skill set. But guess what? The skill set of MMA is already taking all the different styles that actually work and just putting them together, mixed martial arts. So he charges $3,000 an hour. You can sign up for his $10,000 course over 6 months where you get 10 sessions with him and something like 10 with one of his students. My gosh, I'm going to read a little bit more of this to you, but the big thing that I note when I see somebody move who does this type of fight sport, and yes, there's a time and a place to not have your hands right here, to have them out like this. But when you're doing some sort of block thing like that, or we're doing these small little techniques, as somebody who has been hit many times, I can tell you, if somebody does something like that to me, it's not going to create enough damage to stop me, right? If we're doing counters to MMA training, we have to assume that you're going to be fighting in gloves, and something small like this, having your hand already set where you block and it's just this small little motion, it's not going to knock somebody down. And he keeps showing his finger like this, and with the audio on, he's talking about hitting certain points, hitting pressure points, catching the belly button, catching right in the temple. And I'm going, it's hard enough when somebody's stationary and they're throwing at you to catch the exact perfect spot. When somebody starts moving their head, try and find this exact tiny little target. Now, it's one thing, if Bob's moving around, he's all over the place, I'm like, okay, I'm going to catch him in the nose. Okay, maybe I can do it. But it's not so easy when somebody's throwing back at you. And we have to remember, guys, that in the martial arts world, there are a lot of people who are very, very good. There are a lot of people who are very, very good who charge a premium because they're very good. But it's a realistic premium. If you go somewhere, you're at a gym and they're like, oh yeah, we're charging $500 an hour for privates, I would be going, what? Who are you? You know, like GSP doing privates? Maybe $500 an hour if you wanted to and had the select clientele. But in general, when things are blown out of proportion on a price scale, you have to stop and go, it's probably a bit of a scam. And while there might be a place for Kung Fu in the martial arts world, there are very few Kung Fu fighters who are going to be standing and can go to this type of stance and are actually going to effectively be able to deal with MMA. Now let's look at the state-of-the-art techniques for dealing with MMA fighters. Dynamic footwork is number one. Footwork is great, it's essential. It's something that many people do not put enough effort in, do not properly understand, and therefore feel unbalanced. But there's no secret dynamic footwork that is going to completely neutralize an MMA fighter. And many high-level MMA fighters, they have the footwork from wrestling, they have the footwork from boxing, they have the footwork from kickboxing, and they are very skilled in that. So you're gonna have trouble defeating them. He has a section on entry technique. Yes, you do want to know how to enter. That's a basic thing that anybody should know how to do. Counterattack techniques. Yes, again, something that's pretty basic. You should know how to do. Dealing with low kicks. Check the low kick. Hollow out. They come for the calf kick. Drop your weight. Angle outward so they damage themselves. All pretty simple, not secrets. Dealing with high kicks. Fade back, catch, block. You can do fancy things like once I block, I elevate my arm to trap the leg and then push them over. Yeah, those are all viable. You don't need to spend $10,000 on it. Dealing with strikes, getting out of the mount. I'll just go to a jiu-jitsu class for that. Getting out of the hold. I don't know what the hold is. And then they got the Iron Palm program for number 10. And dynamic chi sao, train using 2 arms at the same time, which I have many people ask me about stuff like that. Like, okay, Gabriel, I'm throwing 1 shot. Why can't I not do 2 shots? Well, we don't use both hands at the same time because, again, we come back to that thing which I was saying, which you block and the other hand is already out there. So you're only getting half punch. And well, maybe that might work if you're out in the street and you're hitting somebody who does not know how to take a shot, who has not taken one before. When you start thinking about MMA fighters, these are tough guys. Doesn't just need to be UFC caliber as well. People who have been in the gym for a couple of years, they're tough. And it's gonna take more than something like that to drop them. You might hit them once and then they're gonna be on you. So there's a lot in here where you start going, okay, why is anybody in the world going to be paying for this? And the first thing, because there's a lot of people commenting, a lot of skepticism about the program, one of the first things that somebody stated is, I'll bet there are a lot of gradings and assessments, everyone with a fee. Pretty absurd. Run away. Yes, when you get to these traditional martial arts, when they have the grading systems and they start charging you $50 initially, $100 as you move on. Some of them get up to $1,000, $2,000 to start getting certain belts. You should be wary. You should be very wary and you should run away. Somebody else puts out a question. I know it's a joke, but I don't think anybody can afford that unless you're training with a celebrity coach. Coaches usually charge $100 per hour for private lessons. Yeah, that seems like a whole lot. And as I said before, there are some people who, could charge $200, $300, $400, $500 an hour, but there better be a darn good reason. Somebody says world-class MMA coaches that have produced UFC champions don't even charge close to those rates. Yes, very true. Somebody else quipped, $3,000 an hour, you're supposed to be able to dodge bullets after the first session? Yeah, I hope so. I better be getting something amazing for that price point. So the final sort of question is whether traditional Kung Fu techniques can be effectively adapted for modern martial arts, modern MMA contact at any price point. Like, is it gonna work? Guess what? Just like Aikido, if it worked, it would be in the UFC already. I think it's as clear as that. If you do not see a fight sport actively being used in the UFC by the high-level guys, there's a reason. And that reason is, while it looks fun and it might be fun to train, it is not the most effective style. And Kung Fu, well, I'm sure it has its place in the world and many people do it, and maybe it's a nice entry into other fight sports, it is not the most effective. And there are probably very many good things about it. But to say that it's going to defeat MMA, if you sign up for this course, you're obviously a little bit naive. And what I try to do and what everybody on this channel should be trying to do for the people they know is to point out what makes a gym good, what makes a style good, and help direct people to a gym where they're gonna get the most out of the training and not be there for 2, 3, 4, 10 years and then come out, have to defend themselves and realize they really can't. And that is not something which is uncommon. It is more common than you think, and it's unfortunately places like this, maybe not this particular guy, I don't know anything about him aside from what I just saw, but a lot of places like this where people come in and they're hoy and they're doing all their hoy kind of stuff, and then they realize down the road that they don't actually know how to block a real punch, or if they actually have to scrap and go to the ground, they don't know what to do. You have to be careful out there. Don't get shystered.